All right. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today for the Sustainable Livelihoods model for our PARO Wednesday webinar. Just a little bit of housekeeping, though. We will be recording, so if you do not wish to be part of the recording, please feel free to turn off your camera. We do ask that during the presentation, though, you do keep yourself on mute, but during the question and discussion periods, you're more than welcome to unmute yourself and ask your questions. If you do not feel comfortable doing so, please feel free to put your questions in the chat, and I can relay them to Suzanne. And at the very end of everything, we have just a short little survey that we would ask you to fill out. It takes maybe a minute to do, just so that we can get some feedback so we can better improve these webinars for you. Otherwise, Suzanne, I'm going to hand it over to you and take it away.
Okay, well, hello everyone. My name is Suzanne Tai. I am a business growth advisor here at PARO. Our head office is here in Thunder Bay. And today I am going to be presenting the Sustainable Livelihoods model, which is a model that we have been using here at PARO. Well, I would say I've been hanging around PARO here for about 18 years. So I would say at least 16 years, we have been using Sustainable Livelihoods model. So I'm just going to pull the PowerPoint up and we'll get started. And feel free to jump in, just because we have a very small group, feel free to jump in whenever you want. Just, unmute yourself and start talking, because that's how I like to do presentations. Very comfortable and casual. So here we go. Going to, oh, no, where's my, there we are. Everybody can see that? Yes, yes, yes. Okay,
Yep.
good. Okay, good. Okay, so this is the Sustainable Livelihoods model. I'm going to just jump ahead a few slides here, because I want to get everybody started by just being able to, just being able to draw a hexagon here. Just want to be able to see if I can just expand this just a little bit for you to see better.
You have to click the actual picture, Suzanne.
There we go. Thank you. See, it's so nice to have Kylie on board here. Okay, so can everyone see it? It's a hexagon. So I want you to take a piece of paper and kind of divide it into like a pie. So you have a pie here. So you're going to divide your pie into what we call human assets, will be one piece of the pie. Another piece will be personal assets. Another piece will be social assets, financial assets, and physical assets. So just take a minute on a piece of paper and do that now. And then we'll just get started and we'll talk about what all these assets mean and go from there. Has everyone done that? They could just get a thumbs up. I just don't want to jump ahead. We're good? Okay. So here we go. I'm going to go back. So as you can see by the pie that I just had to draw, there's 5 assets in the Sustainable Livelihoods model. About 15 years ago, we worked with the Canadian Women's Foundation and for 2 years. And what we did is it was 10 entrepreneurs, and we had them follow the Sustainable Livelihoods model for 2 years. And at the end of 2 years, their biggest asset in that hexagon, or the pie we call it, the biggest asset that increased over that time was their financial assets. So very, very interesting research study we did, and now we're going to dive right into it. So before we get into the assets, the things that, as you know, this is life, and we're going to be thrown lots of things. Lots of things are going to come at us: the crises, shocks, trends. And if you're a woman entrepreneur building a business, it could throw your life and business off track. And COVID was a very, very good example of that. Very good example of that. So by building all these assets out, it'll help you understand your strengths and your challenges and what you maybe want to work on. So for those just joining us, I see there was a few people that came in at the last minute or so. Just take a minute and draw a hexagon like this and divide it into 5 pieces of pie. So our first piece of pie that we're going to look at is, these are all the bullet points, and these are the assets that will help you build your financial, whether it's personally or in your business. So your income, is your income where you want it to be today? Are you there? And if it's not, think about what you can do to change that, whether it be in your business or not. And know that if you're running a business right now and you want to increase your income or your revenue, PARO is the place to turn to. We have webinars running every Wednesday. We have a loan fund you can access, peer lending circles you can access. So keep that in mind. Are your savings in debt? Are your savings in debt where you want them to be right now? And remember, when you're running a business, debt is not necessarily a bad thing. In other words, a good example of having a debt would be a mortgage on a house, because that's a big asset in your life. And you may have a mortgage, which would be debt. So there's good debt, and then there's bad debt. Of course, you don't want to be running up credit cards and so on. That's when it turns into bad debt. Your valuable possessions, example, your car. Do you have a strong understanding of money? If you don't, again, PARO is the place. We have all kinds of money workshops. Your money management. This is probably the number one thing you really need to understand, especially if you're running a business. You have to understand your cash flow, because without your cash flow in a business, you won't have a business. It's really what it's about. So if you're just starting a business, PARO is a place to help. If you have a business and you find that you don't understand your cash flow, take time, seek out people that can help you understand where your money's going. Because at the end of the day, it's all about, I mean, you could have revenues of $2 million, but if you have expenses of $1.999 million and you're not making any money, well, you know, something's wrong along the way. So you really have to understand that money management piece, especially if you're in business. Well, and in life too, let's face it. And what are your personal attitudes towards money? You know, a lot of us grew up with, depending on what our attitudes were with money, as far as our parents. What was their attitude to money? Did they respect money, or were they frivolous with money? Did they put it away for any education? Did you grow up in a house or an apartment? So a lot of our attitudes come from our childhood, and what our parents' beliefs were around business, around money, and we tend to carry that through life. And also, what do you think your right is to succeed in business? What is your value of time? We know, we see it time and time again. We've been working with women entrepreneurs, and they will maybe make a product, or they have a service, and they'll say, it's okay, you don't have to pay me. It's okay. Well, no, we really have to get past that, because there is value of your time that you're putting into either building a product or your value of time if you're have a service business. So what I want you to do right now is, in that financial piece of your pie, so the center, let's say, is at 1, and at the very edge, the biggest piece of the pie at the edge, let's say it's a number 5. So what I want you to do right now is go through all the bullet points we just discussed and think about where do you stand from 1 to 5 in your financial assets? Be really honest with yourself. Remember, you're just doing this for yourself. You don't have to share it with anybody. If you want to, you can, absolutely. But this is kind of a personal thing to do. You can do it for personally. We've done it with strategic planning for organizations. We do it with women entrepreneurs through business. So really take some time. Whatever you want to get out of it today, whether it's personal or business, take time. Where are you at in that financial asset? Are you at 1? Are you at 5? Are you at 2? Are you at 3? So just take a minute and think about where you're at. And now I'm going to, and remember, like I said, when we did this research project years ago, the number one asset that improved the most after everyone else, after they had all their social, personal, physical, and human assets all in place or where they thought they wanted them, after 2 years of following this model, was the financial asset piece increased the most, which was completely fascinating after our research over 2 years. So let's jump into our physical assets. So our physical assets include housing. Where are you living now? Is it where you really want to be living? Is it safe? Do you want to be living in an urban center? Would you rather be living somewhere in the country or the suburbs? This is also a bit of goal setting as well. So think about your housing situation right now and your food. As we know right now, food is outrageously expensive. It's off the charts. I've never seen anything like it in my life. And I know in my house, we're getting really, really good at making sure that we're not wasting anything, that it's, you know what, if there's a few tomatoes left, it's going in a dish for the next day or something, because, you know, where are you at with your food right now? Probably, you know, everybody's watching their food costs. So another thing we've learned is that when your financial assets have improved after you have all your other assets in place, such as your physical assets, probably your diet and your food your nutrition will get better as well, interestingly enough. Safety, like I had said, are you safe where you live? Are you safe where you work? Are you safe in your business? I know I had a business here in Thunder Bay. I sold in 2021. And I thought when I leased the property that it was safe, but it turned out that whenever we were in that office by ourselves, we always had to lock the door, which wasn't ideal. So that's just a personal little quip I wanted to share with you. But it's those kind of things you have to think about. Do you value safety, and do you have safety in your life? If you don't, how can you change it? Transportation. I know for those of you that are online right now and you're in an urban center such as Toronto, Montreal, Ottawa, your public transportation system is far and wide and readily available for the most part. When you get up into areas like northeastern or northwestern Ontario, transportation can be a real problem. You know, there's lots of small towns that they don't have a bus service. They don't have a subway. That some of them have never even been on a subway. So this can be a real big problem when it comes to women entrepreneurs that want to stay in a small town. Let's say their husband has been, or their partner has been, had to leave their small town for employment, and they're there with children or elders, or for whatever reason, they can't leave their small town. And they don't have transportation. It can be a real issue. So think about transportation in your life. So these are things that sometimes you just take for granted. You get up and you get on the subway or the bus, or you're getting your car, or those kind of things. You don't think about them. But these are things you really should think about, because if all of a sudden you don't have them, how can you get them? How can you change them in your life? Child and elder care in your physical asset building block. This is huge. So for those of you mothers that are out there right now and have small children at home, or just even teenagers or young adults at home, there's and if you're caring for elderly parents, let's say, it can take a toll. It can take a real toll on you. It's a lot. Being a caregiver is exhausting emotionally, physically, all of it. So childcare, I know here in Northwestern Ontario is a huge issue. People have a really hard time finding care for the children if they don't have family that can step up to the plate. Same with elder care here. I don't think, I'm not even going to get into it, but our biggest population right now are baby boomers, and the government just did not prepare for the housing situation. As you know, if you're dealing with any elder care, long-term care facilities there's sometimes a 2 or 3 year wait now. It's a problem. So with all that being thrown at you within 5 minutes, think about where your housing, your food, safety, transportation, or your child or elder care is at. Think about where you're at with your physical assets, and take a minute now and rate yourself where you think you are from 1 to 5. And how do you think you could improve that? Or where do you want to be? Maybe everything is just perfect in your life the way you want it right now. Maybe there is nothing to improve. For the most part, usually there is room for improvement. Anyway, so take a minute now and figure out where you want to be, or where you rate yourself from 1 to 5 in your physical asset in that asset block. And then I'll move. Is there any questions at this point? Just shoot. Any questions? Okay. So we'll move right along to our human assets. So our human assets are ability to set goals for the future. This is so important. As we know, I don't think that needs a whole lot of explanation. Your mental and physical health. This is big. We here at PARO, we did a round table back, I think it was in March. I think there was probably 20 women entrepreneurs there, all around their mental health and what that looks like especially as a woman entrepreneur. As a woman entrepreneur, you can feel really isolated at times. You think that no one understands what you're going through. And for the most part, if you're talking to friends or family and they're not self-employed, they don't know what you're going through. They don't understand. That's why we really encourage here at PARO to join a peer lending circle. You can go on our website and learn more about that. You can join a circle and with other woman entrepreneurs, 4 to 7 women in your circle, and you meet once a month if that works for you, or once every 2 weeks. Whatever works. I've been in a circle for probably 15 years, and we meet every other month. It's just the way it works for us at this point, because we've been together for so long. It's like we're all married now. So, and when we get together, we all get each other, because we know what the stressors are around the financial piece of running a business, cash flows, employees, hiring, retention of those employees. It's all encompasses running a successful business, and you really need to have support around that, whatever that looks like. So the mental piece of running a business is big, and if you don't have people to do talk therapy with, as we call it, then it could be a problem, because nobody understands what you're going through. So think about that. Your physical health. Well, I know here at PARO, we do a lot of sitting around here in front of a computer. So we try to I try to make it a point to get up at least every hour and walk around, because it's the way of our world right now. We get stuck in front of a computer, or I've noticed, even if I'm on vacation, you go into a restaurant and everybody's head is down looking at their phone. You think, oh my goodness. So think about your physical health. Is it where you want to be? Probably not. Everybody always says, oh, you know, especially as January 1st rolls around, oh, I'd like to be healthier, or I'm going to get in shape this year, or this or that. And all of a sudden, 6 months has blown by, 2024, here we are at the beginning of July. Are you where you want to be with your physical health? I know I'm not. Anyway, education and skills. This is something that you'll never want to stop improving, in my humble opinion only. Okay, so it's important, especially if you're in business. You constantly want to keep ahead of the trend, because, you know, if you're in business, I hear all the time from women entrepreneurs I work with, they say, well, I want to start a business, but there's, you know, this person and that person, they're doing exactly the same thing. Well, that's okay, because for the most part, you're not going to start a business that probably no one else has ever done. So you have to think about what unique skill or education are you going to bring to your particular business that will stand out from the competition of the same business that you're going to be running. And if you don't have a business and you're looking to be employed, do you have the ability to work and retain work? You know, and it's, so throw all the stressors in there that we talked about, childcare, elder care, transportation, all those physical assets that, even housing. Are you able to keep a job if you have one? Are you able to retain it? I don't know, I had trouble with that word. And your ability to continue to learn and develop skills, whether you're in business or whether you're being employed or whether you're looking at this as an organization. You always have to be current. You have to keep moving forward in life. That's the way life works. So at your human assets now, take time again, think about all these bullet points: your abilities to set goals, mental and physical health, education and skills, employability, ability to continue and learn. Take a minute now and think, where are you at in your human asset piece of the pie from 0 to 5? Where are you at? So write that down as well. And then we'll move right along to our 4th piece of the pie: social assets. This is always this is one I can speak to from having a couple of businesses for years and years and years, about how important this piece can be. So your family, can you count on your family? Are they there to support you? Are they there for your child care, your elder care, all of that? You know, there's a lot of people that have family, including myself. I don't have any direct relatives right here in the city I'm living in right now. So to visit family, I always have to travel to see them. Hopefully one day that will change. But sometimes that has sometimes it has an impact on you. Your friends. Do you keep in touch with your friends, or are your friends through work? Are they through, I mean, everybody has different friends, whether it's, you know, through work. I know I have some wonderful friends here at PARO. And in my neighborhood, I have a great community right in my neighborhood. So think about where your friends are and your friends in work. And I've said it for probably the last decade, and I'll keep saying it probably forever, is that building a great business requires building good relationships in business, especially in your community, within your community. Because without good relationships in business or in your community, you're not going to have a successful business. It's just the way life is. So make sure that, you know, we talk about simple things when, if you're in business, look the part. I know, listen, we're all guilty of maybe getting up in the morning and running to the grocery store and, gee, I forgot to brush my hair, or this kind of thing. And then all of a sudden, you know, you run into, there's that client I always wanted to impress. And there you are standing there with your dozen eggs, and, you know, you got your Crocs on and your sweatpants and your hair's up in the air. So think about it. If you're in business, it's important. Your leadership skills. There's so many courses around leadership. If you're running a business and you have employees, this is of the utmost importance. to have really good leadership skills. Gone are the days of, I know my working days growing up where, you know, the boss was the one you feared. So a lot of people, they think leadership is leading with fear. And instead, I've learned, having a good business and through the years, that leadership is really built if you're standing behind your people and you're pushing them forward to become great leaders themselves. Those are great leadership skills. What do you know about political literacy in action? Now, I'm not talking about, you know, standing on a corner on a soapbox and so on, but you really need to know what's going on politically, especially in your community. If you don't, start talking to people, start talking to other business owners, because it can really impact your business, the political actions in your community, in our country, and what's going south of our border in Canada right now. What a gong show. Anyway, that's just my opinion. So that is your social assets right now. So think about where you are. Take a minute now from 1 to 5 and rate yourself. Where do you think you're at with your family, your friends? How can you improve that? Your leadership skills, political and action. Think about where you want to be at in your social assets from 1 to 5. Take a minute now and do that. And then we'll move on to our last piece of the pie, and then how we'll go through different questions you can ask yourself to include those, and we'll go from there. Now, your personal assets. Your identity. Do you identify as a businesswoman? Do you identify as a mother or a daughter? I'm sure we identify as many things in our life. Are you happy with all the different roles that you identify with? This is really what it's about. Your self-esteem. I know with women, this always seems to be an issue, especially with running a business. You know, a lot of people say, I feel like I just lost what I was going to say as far as, oh, I know, imposter syndrome, right? A lot of people think, okay, I have a big presentation and I know I can do it, and I'm going to go out there and I'm going to pitch my business. And then you're driving there and you think, oh my goodness, who do I think I am? Who do you think I'm going to impress? You know, so it's all about self-esteem. This is your business. You know your business better than anybody, or you know yourself better than anybody. So where are you at with your self-esteem? Do you need help with that? There's so many resources out there now for identity, self-esteem. And then next one is motivation. Do you have the motivation to get out of bed every day, to jump out of bed for your business or your job? And I know, you know what, we're all human. We don't have that in us every single day of our life. We just don't. It's just the way it is. But for the most part, especially if you're running a business and if you have employees counting on you, you have to be motivated. Even if you have to fake it, you have to get up and then you have to pass it on to your employees as well. And independence, you know, if you're self-employed, you have to be able to be independent as far as your thinking, as far as doing all your planning, in your social assets, especially your financial assets, physical assets. So take a minute now, and where are you at with these 4 things: identity, self-esteem, motivation, and independence? From 1 to 5, how would you rate yourself? 5 being the highest, of course, 1 being the lowest. In your personal assets, 1 to 5, rate yourself right now where you're at. And anyone have any questions at this before we move forward? Okay, well then we'll just jump right into. Okay, we've already gone through that. Are you ready to do business? So here we are. So that was, I'm just going to quickly go through these as well. So we talked about the personal side of things in the business, but this is targeted specifically for business. So in your human assets, your business skills, technical skills, are you setting goals and focus in your health and wellness? So if you were just doing your assets personally last time, think about this for business, okay? I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because you have a good idea of what each asset area includes. So this is your human assets. Are you ready to do business? Are you ready for the money? We talked about that, your financial knowledge. So I cannot stress how important that is if you're running a business, and your financial skills. And credit, your possessions, your equity in your business. So important. You need to know these things. And it doesn't have to be complicated if you're just starting a business. Think about it. Just the best advice I can give you is just make sure you keep everything separate from your personal and your business. Very important. Physical assets, your housing and environment, business location. I told you about mine and how it was good when I rented it, and then it wasn't that safe. Do you have access to services and resources in your business? Social assets, your networks and alliances, so important. So important. I've seen that, you know, if you're out there and you're in business, I called myself when I was in business, like I was like an old show dog, really. I would get out there with my pull up and my table and my banners and this and that, and just make sure that you're out there and people know who you are. They're not going to find you online unless they're really specifically looking for something. You need to get out there in your community. People need to know who you are. You need to join networks. You need to have alliances. You need to be doing communications. You need to do marketing. And if you don't know how, PARO can help you with that. But there's so many pieces out there, so many things that have to come together to run a successful business. Your relationships, I spoke about that. You have to have good relationships and human resources and support systems in place to have a successful business. And motivation for your personal assets, self-esteem, independence, resilience. When you look through and you really spend time and reflect on on all your different asset areas, it will build resilience in your life, guaranteed, and balance, whatever that looks like for you. You know, some people say, I strive for balance in my life. It's an ongoing battle, especially for women. It really is. It's if you're running a business, well, even if you're just employed too. So setting goals. All right. So now that we've gone through the assets, all the different pieces of the pie, as we call them, how would you like to see your assets change in the next 6 months? I want you to think about that. If you want to take a minute and just jot them down, I'll give you a minute. In the next 6 months, how do you think what would you like to see changed? And we all know that we've all done and heard it over the years with goal setting. Write it down, think about it. Stick it on your mirror, stick it somewhere so it's always front and center of your goals or where you want your assets to change. These are goals, but we've just broken them down into different assets. That's over the next 6 months. How do they look over the next year? Over the next 5 years? Now remember, running a good business should also include a succession plan. And you know, at some point you say, okay, well, maybe when I hit 60, I'll sell my business. Selling a business, if you're really successful, selling a business isn't always that simple. So you want to keep that in mind. I've seen it lots of times where you may have an employee that will want to buy your business. So over the next 5 years, do you still want to be in the same business? Do you want to do a huge expansion? Do you want to sell your business? Those are things to think about. And your roadmap. Describe your business. Business success or any kind of success is only how you define it, no one else. It's what success looks like for you, not the general public. What does success look like for you? And what is your business success now? And remember, celebrate even the smallest wins. Oh, I got a new client today. There was another $500 in revenue. That's something to celebrate. It's all those small incremental successes that make a big business success. And where would you like your business to be in 3 years? Well, we just asked that, where would you want to be in 5 years? So there, we'll break it down into 3 years. Okay, so how will you get there? And I can guarantee you, there's a saying that what got you here won't get you there. So remember that. If you want to keep going forward, what got you here won't get you there. How am I going to get there? Ownership for making it happen, allowing it to happen, making the effort. Huge one, this is so big, is just show up. Just show up. And you know, sometimes you think, oh, I don't feel like it. It's after work. I just want to go home. I just want to pick up a pizza on the way, or, you know, I just don't feel like going. I don't feel like putting a smile on my face. It's so important if you're in business. Just show up. It's so important. Setting realistic and clear goals. So, you know, if you have revenue in your business of $1,000 a month right now, and you say next month I'm going to do 25,000, is that really realistic? Well, who knows, depending on what kind of contracts you're bringing in, but make them realistic and make them clear. Review your progress weekly, monthly, annually. Can't stress enough, especially when it comes to your bookkeeping. Don't leave all your bookkeeping for every 6 months or once a year. Try and get it wrapped up every month, because right now, especially at PARO, we have a loan fund. It's called WEOC, Women's Economic Organization of Canada, has a loan fund. And if you're successful and you get the loan, they want to see your financials every 3 months. Or if you're getting a loan from a traditional bank source, these are the things that they're going to want to see. So keep that in mind. Do not be doing your books every 6 months or every year. Don't do that. So review your progress weekly, monthly, annually. And as I mentioned, celebrate your achievements along the way. So if you want, just take your assets, what you did today, from 1 to 5, stick it in a drawer, and then put it in your calendar, look at it again in 6 months and think, I wonder where I'm at in 6 months. So as our founder of PARO, Ross Lockyer, says, you can be anything you want to be, but first you have to know what that is. And that's the hard part, how true that is, especially with all the opportunities that may be available to you. Setting goals and working toward them. Well, we've kind of hammered that out through the whole presentation here. And then, of course, we also do, as I'd mentioned, we do assets for this. Sustainable livelihoods model is good for personal, business, organizations, strategic planning. We've done lots with organizations, and you can just see what we ask people in each asset here. If you're interested, I'll just leave that up for a minute. So that is pretty much it for our presentation today. I've left time for questions, if anybody has any. Fire away. Anyone? Thoughts, comments, epiphanies? Anyone?
I don't have any questions or comments in chat, and I
Okay.
don't have any raised hands. But like I said, at this point, anyone is more than welcome to unmute themselves and ask their questions.
Right. Or yeah, and I really encourage you to visit our PARO website, find out all the services that we offer. There's plenty. There is, sign up, register with us, and like I said, we have webinars every Wednesday. We'll connect you to a business counselor, a business growth advisor. We can walk you through a startup right through to succession planning. Keep that in mind. It was great to see all of you today. Some of you I didn't see, but you know what I mean. Oh, go ahead, Nilu.
I have a quick question, and
Sure.
it's under education, human asset. So I have a question, and when you just mentioned education and skills, this is very important to start any business or any work. If anyone needed, I'm just looking for, I got some training and I'm getting some training regarding the marketing.
Okay.
So yes, as a business owner, you can hire like social media person or anything, but I just would like to go before, because I would like to educate myself to do marketing. And my question is here, is there any program or training program PARO provide to newcomers or anyone who would like to start already had business but do more marketing, like develop more marketing skills? So I was just looking for something like that right now, or any funding. If I go with any marketing training program, is there any funding provided, provided by PARO?
Well, let's define funding first. We have, Leila, you want to jump in? It looks like you wanted to jump in. No?
No, I was just going to
Oh,
say thank
oh,
you. I got to
okay.
run, jumping into
Oh,
another
okay,
meeting.
okay,
Thank you.
okay. All right.
Bye.
Okay, Nilu, what I would recommend is that go onto our PARO website on the top right-hand corner, register with PARO, and then our business counselor or business growth advisor will reach out to you and work with you personally, okay? You have a couple of loaded questions there as far as marketing, which is a huge thing, and funding is big as well. You have another question?
So I have my business advisor, Chantal Fraser is my
Oh, good.
yeah, so she's
Good.
yeah, and
Good.
also I'm taking one course, PARO course, and this is regarding the business development. Yes, that's a good, but I'm just looking for, if I before getting provide like information on my website for the marketing purpose, I just need to know what exactly I have to put on that, even though in future I will hire someone. So I'm just looking for a pure marketing, and I have a course behind, like front of me, but I need some grant or funding for that. So okay,
well, I can tell you, if you're working with Chantal, you're working with a very knowledgeable, well-versed, up-to-date, techie kind of woman. So you're in good hands with Chantal for sure.
yeah.
Reach out to her, Nilu, and I know if she doesn't know, she will certainly go to bat and find out and research anything that you do need. I know that
Thank
about
you.
Chantal. She's wonderful.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome. Anybody else? Don't forget to fill out the survey there.
I'm not seeing any other hands raised or questions in chat. So
Okay.
yeah, like Suzanne said there, we would very much appreciate if you could take a minute or two to fill up the evaluation. Does not take very long, just so that we can get some feedback on these webinars so that we can better oh gosh, I need more caffeine. I can't talk anymore. We could better tailor them to you, your needs.
Yeah.
Also, again, if you would like a copy of the recording, or if there's any webinars you have missed in the past, feel free to send me an email at communications@paro.ca, and I will send you the link to the playlist where all of our 2024 webinars are posted.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, that's fantastic. So, okay, I think that's a wrap.
All right. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us today. And we look forward to seeing you at future biz camps, webinars, and events. Have a great summer. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.